I need to tell someone this before I can't anymore. Something's been inside me for 3 years. I'm not alone right now. Even as I'm recording this, I can feel it. In 2021, I paid $5,000 to be buried alive. Not in a cemetery, but in a field. In West Africa, 7 days underground, in a wooden coffin, with nothing but a bamboo reed to breathe through. They said it would make me a prophet. They were right. When they dug me up on day 7, I could prophesy, immediately, accurately, things I had no way of knowing. My church grew from 70 members to numbers I couldn't even count. In 2 years, I was on radio, television, conferences. Other pastors called me powerful. They called me anointed. But something came out of that grave with me. Something that wasn't there when they buried me. 3 other pastors I know did the same ritual, same location, same burial, same promises. Pastor James, Pastor David, and Pastor Samuel. All 3 are dead now. And I think I'm next. There are things I need to tell you, things I remember, and things I don't remember, which might be worse. Day 3, most of it is just gone. Like those hours never existed for me. Day 5, I remember things that I don't think were real. Or maybe they were. I don't know anymore. But day 7, I remember day 7 like I'm seeing you right now. So let me say this. If your pastor suddenly became prophetic after a trip to West Africa, if they took some spiritual retreat or prayer conference in Nigeria, Benin, Togo, if they came back different, this is what they are not telling you. To understand how I ended up in that coffin, you need to understand where I was in 2020. My church wasn't growing. Actually, that's not quite true. We were steady, small, but steady. About 70 members. Maybe 80 on a good Sunday. The offerings were enough to keep the lights on, pay the rent, support my family, not really. I'd been preaching for 8 years at that point. 8 years of sincere service. 8 years of fasting and prayer. 8 years of believing that if I just worked harder, prayed longer, studied deeper, God would bless the ministry. But nothing special was happening. Then my landlord evicted me. I couldn't pay the rent for the next year. Not even part of it. I remember sitting on the floor of that empty apartment with my wife, both of us crying, asking God where we went wrong. What we were supposed to do now. It was during this difficult moment that I met John. John was also a pastor. But John's story wasn't like mine. John was doing well. Actually, John was doing incredibly well. His church had grown from nothing to 2,000 members in 3 years. He drove a nice car. Lived in a nice house. Wore nice clothes. I need you to understand something. When you're struggling, when you're at the bottom, you don't expect pastors who are making it to even notice you. They run in different circles. They attend different conferences. They have different problems than you do. So when John approached me at a pastor's conference, when he actually sat down next to me and started a conversation, I was shocked and grateful and desperate enough to ask the wrong questions. We talked for maybe an hour that first day, about ministry, about challenges, about dreams. He was kind, encouraging. He prayed with me, told me God had big plans for me. Then, over coffee a few weeks later, I made a mistake that changed everything. I asked him, how do you do it? How do you prophesy like that? See, John wasn't just successful. John was powerful. His prophetic accuracy was different. He would walk into a room full of strangers and call people out by name. Tell them things about their lives, specific things that he had no way of knowing. Medical diagnosis, financial struggles, hidden sins, family secrets. And he was always right. Always. The truth is, most pastors, when you ask them about their gift, they deflect. They'll tell you it's the anointing. God gave them a gift. Years of fasting and prayer, dedication, intimacy with the Holy Spirit. John didn't do that. John looked at me across that coffee table, smiled, and said, I have helpers. Then he laughed, like it was a joke. But I could tell from his eyes it wasn't a joke. I pressed him, asked what he meant, where these helpers came from, how I could get them too. He then told me that there's a place in West Africa, people there who can unlock things in you, power you already have but can't access. They know how to open the doors. I asked him what it cost. He said, $5,000 plus 7 days of your life. 7 days of my life. I thought he meant 7 days of time, like a week-long retreat. I didn't understand that he meant 7 days I would never get back. 7 days that would mark me, change me. 7 days that would let something in that I couldn't get out. I didn't decide right away. It took me 6 months. 6 months of struggling. 6 months of watching my church stay the same while others grew. 6 months of financial pressure. 6 months of feeling like a failure. 6 months of desperation. Finally, I called John. Told him I wanted to do it. Asked him to connect me. He made all the arrangements. Gave me a phone number. Told me when to fly, where to stay. And in March 2021, I got on a plane to West Africa. I told my wife I was going to a prophetic training conference, a special intensive program, 7 days of focused prayer and fasting with some powerful ministers. She believed me. When I arrived, John's contact picked me up from the airport. Middle-aged man. Didn't talk much. Just drove, for hours, out of the city, through smaller towns, eventually onto dirt roads. We ended up at a compound, not a shrine like I'd expected. Just a house. Normal-looking house. If you drove past it, you wouldn't think twice. The old man was waiting for me. I don't know his name. Never learned it. John had told me he was in his 70s, maybe older. When I saw him, I thought older was right. His face was weathered, deeply lined. His hair completely white. But his eyes. You could feel power in his eyes. The kind of power that makes you want to look away. That makes you feel small, exposed. Like he could see everything about you in one glance. He spoke broken English, heavily accented. But he was clear enough. You come for power, he said. Not a question. A statement. I nodded. You pay for power. You get power. But power has cost. You understand? I said yes. I didn't understand. Not really. But I said yes. He took me around the house to the back. There was a field there. Maybe half an acre. And in that field, there were these small mounds. Hills of dirt. Maybe a dozen of them. Different sizes. Some looked fresh. Some looked old. The old man pointed to one of the fresh mounds. Your place, he said. 7 days. I stared at it. Stared at him. What do you mean, my place? He smiled. Not a warm smile. A knowing smile. We bury you here. 7 days. You come out different. Then he added, almost as an afterthought, if you come out. You see, during my time of introduction that day, 3 other men who later became my friends walked into the compound right then. All there for the same reason I was. 2 were from Nigeria. One of them tall, maybe 40 years old. That was Pastor James. And the other one, closer to my age, Pastor Samuel. One was from Ghana. Younger, early 30s, very serious. Pastor David. We didn't talk much to each other that first day. I think we were all ashamed. All desperate. All hoping this was the answer we'd been looking for. All 3 of them are dead now. James died first. Heart attack while driving. 2 years after the burial. David died later. Brain aneurysm. Sudden. No warning. Samuel died last year. Car accident. Single car. Drove straight into a tree at 2 in the morning. Police said he wasn't drunk. Said it looked like he just aimed for it. You see, the preparation took 2 days. 2 days of fasting. They gave us water but no food. 2 days of drinking these herbal mixtures. Thick, bitter stuff that made everything feel fuzzy. Made it hard to think clearly. 2 days of chanting. Words in a language I didn't understand. Words that seemed to vibrate in your chest when they said them. On the morning of the 2nd day, they shaved my head. All of it. Then they drew symbols on my body with ash. On my chest, my arms, my forehead. I don't remember all of it. The herbs made everything blur together. But I remember the ash felt warm when they put it on. That afternoon, they brought out the coffins. 4 of them. 1 for each of us. They lined each one with leaves. Some kind of plant I didn't recognize. Put in a container of water. Some dried meat. Like they were packing for a trip. And a reed. A bamboo reed. Maybe 8 feet long. One end sharpened into a point. The old man held it up. This is how you breathe, he said. One end in your mouth, other end above ground. Air comes through. He looked at me directly. Don't let go of it. That night, I didn't sleep. We just sat there, looking at the coffins, knowing what was coming in the morning. Morning came. The old man told us it was time. I remember getting into the coffin. The wood was rough against my back. The leaves crackled underneath me. I had to lie very still because there wasn't much room. Couldn't turn. Couldn't really move at all. Just lying there in this wooden box that smelled like earth and those leaves. They put the reed in my mouth. Made sure I had a good grip on it with both hands. Then the old man said some words. That language again. The one that makes your chest vibrate. Then he closed the lid. I could hear them shoveling dirt. The sound hitting the wood above my head. Getting quieter as they piled it on. Layer after layer. Then, silence. Complete. Absolute silence. That was day one. Day one, I didn't sleep. How could I? Every breath was an effort. Breathing through that reed. Every breath wondering if it was blocked. If the next one wouldn't come. If I'd suffocate down there and no one would know until they dug me up 7 days later. I could hear my heartbeat. That's all. Just my heartbeat and my breathing through that reed. For hours, and hours, and hours. I tried counting to track time. Got to 3,000. Lost count. Started over. Lost count again. At some point, I don't know when, I pissed myself. Just couldn't hold it anymore. Lying there in my own filth, in the dark, in that box, with dirt piled on top of me. Day two was worse. I started hearing things. At first, I thought maybe it was the other pastors. James or David or Samuel. Maybe they were talking above ground. Maybe people were walking around up there. But the voices were too close, like they were in the coffin with me. Whispers. At first just sounds. Then words. But not in any language I knew. Just whispers. Surrounding me. Coming from everywhere and nowhere. I tried to move. Tried to turn my head to see where the voices were coming from. But I couldn't move much. And it was completely dark. Couldn't see anything. So I just lay there, listening to voices that shouldn't be there. Breathing through that reed, feeling my heart race, wondering what I'd done. I don't remember most of day 3. There's just gaps. Blank spaces where time should be. I remember being very cold, which doesn't make sense because it was hot down there, sweat running down my face, soaking my clothes. But I remember shaking from cold. I remember feeling like I couldn't breathe. Like the reed wasn't working. Like I was drowning in air. They told me later, after they dug me up, that I stopped breathing on day 3, for hours. The reed wasn't moving air. They could see it above ground, not moving. The old man almost dug me up. The other men were arguing with him, saying I was dead, saying they needed to get me out. But he said, no, wait, something's happening. I don't remember stopping breathing. I don't remember it starting again. There's just nothing. Like that whole chunk of time doesn't exist for me. Like it was deleted from my memory. That scares me more than anything else. Because what happened during those hours that I can't remember? What was done to me while I was, wherever I was? Day 4, I woke up. If I was even asleep, I don't know. But I opened my eyes in that complete darkness. And I knew immediately something was different. I wasn't alone anymore. There was something in that coffin with me. I couldn't see it. Couldn't see anything. But I could feel it. Like a weight on my chest. Like someone lying on top of me, pressing down, making it even harder to breathe through that reed. And I could hear it. Breathing. Not through the reed. Just breathing, right next to my ear. I tried to scream. Tried to yell for help. But when you're breathing through a reed, you can't scream. You can barely make sound. Can't get enough air. So I just lay there, with this thing on top of me, listening to it breathe next to my ear, feeling the weight of it pressing me down. How long that lasted, I don't know. Hours. Maybe the whole day. Eventually I must have passed out. Or the herbs were off. Or something happened. Because the next thing I remember clearly is day 5. The voices started again. But this time, they weren't outside me. They weren't in the coffin. They were inside my head. Clear, distinct, multiple voices. All of them talking at once. But somehow, I could understand each one individually. Like they were taking turns even though they were all speaking simultaneously. They were offering me things. We can make you powerful, one said. We can make them listen to you, another said. We can give you what you came for, a third said. Over and over. Different variations. Everything I'd come for. Everything I'd paid for. Everything I'd been buried alive for. All they wanted was permission to give it to me. And I said yes. Not out loud. Couldn't speak. But in my mind, I said yes. I agreed. I gave permission. That's when I felt it enter me. It wasn't gradual. It wasn't gentle. It pushed into my body. Through my chest. Through my stomach. Through my head. All at once. Like being torn open from the inside. Like something was being forced into spaces that weren't meant to hold it. It hurt. God, it hurt. I don't know how long I screamed. Or if I screamed at all. Maybe I just screamed in my mind. Maybe I was physically making sounds. I don't know. All I know is the pain, the tearing, the sensation of being filled with something that didn't belong. And then, it stopped. The pain stopped. The voices stopped. Everything went quiet. But I could still feel it inside me, settled, waiting, like it had found its home.